Turning 30, 6 of the biggest life lessons that I've learned in travel and self-development over the last 10 years of relocating, seeing the globe. Buzzing to get into this video, let's jump into it. What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. We're just down here at a park in Aluka, beautiful sunny day. Quick intro if you're new to the channel. What's up? My name is Benjamin Harden. I'm a video creator and an aspiring traveller. I love putting on videos on all my personal experiences, which normally contain travel and self-development. So if that's your kind of vibe, consider subscribing. Another quick note, massive thanks again for all the continuous support to the channel with all subscribers and all of you lovely, awesome legends. Thank you for your time. And yeah, I look forward to putting more videos out for you for the future. Without further ado, let's get stuck into this one. So time for a quick nice little recap. On the 8th of April, I basically turned 30, the big 30. The last 10 years of doing this travel, self-development, relocation has been unbelievable. It's been amazing. I've been massively reflecting on all my experiences and how my life's pretty much turned out from making those particular types of decisions. Here in Perth, WA, from my last video, I'll be sure to link it just up here somewhere. My FIFO job went slightly quiet just because of client work not coming in, etc. So I had to find a second job. I managed to get myself a nice little weekend bar job local to where I live here in Burns Beach, which is wicked. And in doing so, with comparing both of these work lifestyles, these job routines, it got me massively thinking about my happiness, my future life, which then brought around this idea of what are the biggest life lessons that I've learned up until now. One of the biggest problems that I've struggled with over the last decade is this little thing called clarity. Being clear on what my life's task is, where I'm supposed to be located in the world, where I find myself to be most happiest, who's supposed to be involved in said life, and yeah, what my future is supposed to look like. In which 4 things would normally come up. It would be spending time with loved ones, family and friends. It would be investing time in my creativity, just like doing these videos, etc. The third one would be meeting great people, like all over the place, all over the globe. I absolutely adore doing that. And the fourth one, which, as you know from the vids as well, it's like taking on and experiencing all these amazing travel experiences across the world. And so that brings me on to my first lesson, which is trial and test as much as you can. I've gone from moving cities, states, countries, all different kinds of locations. My lifestyle has changed dramatically from going from like ski seasons to hot summers. And I've definitely seen a huge variety of contrast. Certain things have worked, certain things have not worked. When trying to find a life that makes you happy, this can depend on a variety of different factors. For me, they've been health, relationships, like the kind of people that you have in your life. The weather's a big factor. Income and opportunities. This is literally another reason why I flew out to Australia 3 years ago, because I found out that the money was a lot better here for the industries that I was going to be working in, and that I'd have potential to save more, travel more, and enjoy more of my life. And the summary with this lesson is that if I didn't trial and test all of these different variables, I wouldn't see the contrast that I see right now. For example, like how much happier I am in sunny locations than when I am in rainy locations, or how happier I am when I've got loads of social connections around me and community compared to being somewhat isolated like I was when I was working in FIFO. And so a few little action points slash tips here is that don't be afraid to try the unknown. If you're scared or worried about failure, just know that the deepest lessons come from those failures. And then when there is those lessons, that is where you grow the most, where you learn the most about what went wrong, what maybe went right, use as your advantage to move forward and how to do it better next time. Be aware when these lessons present themselves. When you become more self-aware, you become more conscious on the process and what's actually happened, and thus in doing that you alter your mindset in a way where you understand how it's happened, and then this will better prepare you for if it does happen again down the line, or if a new lesson or a new failure comes into play. This moves me on to my second lesson, which is if something doesn't work, adapt, pivot and move on. So in other words, don't become static if you start to fail at something, or if something just isn't going your way. The best way I've kind of learned to deal with it is to accept it, to understand why it went wrong in the first place, and then to kind of adapt the situation and where, okay, this didn't work out, but this kind of did. Okay, I'll not do that. I won't do the thing that didn't work. I'll focus more on the little thing that did work, and then to try to pivot in a way that would move me forward in that way. Okay, so let's give you a life example on this. As some of you know from my previous videos, I have my own business. It's called Sea Collective, travel brand. I started this business 3 years ago when I moved to Australia. It first started off as a clothing brand, then it moved to being a membership subscription video on demand business. And now I've pivoted and moved it towards, at the moment, low ticket info products, in which then I'll produce and make courses for it down the line, which I'm super excited for. I've already started building them. The reason why I did this is because number one is that the YouTube was growing every single day, which is wicked and I love. And so I wanted to focus more on building videos for the YouTube and for you guys, for everyone on here. The subscription video on demand wasn't working, so instead I decided to utilize what I've already created, i.e. like the travel checklist, the departure travel checklist, the travel and relocation community that I've built online, and those things were working. So what I decided to do was just sell them as just one-offs, one-time buys, etc., and then get rid of the subscription video on demand service at the moment. And then when I have utilized my time in a way that is effective and efficient, then it means that both sides are a winner. It means the aspiring traveler who I serve gets looked after, and then it means obviously me as a business owner and entrepreneur also has the ability to grow and move forward with this. Action points for this lesson: try to focus on one thing at the start. If your energy is divided onto 5 different individual things, it's going to be so much harder to progress because your energy is dispersed. I completely get trial and testing up loads of different things, but whenever I've done that, I've always tried to just test one, see if it didn't work. Okay, it didn't work, and move on to the next one, instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or however many more you do at the same time, and then you're being pulled and stretched into different kind of areas and different ways, and it's just, not only does this create overwhelm, but also you'll have like 4 unfinished things instead of 1 finished thing. Also, what I've come to learn is that your brain has a limited bandwidth of how much it puts out every single day. I've noticed that from doing my workouts here at the park in the mornings and stuff, my key areas of where I'm most focused is in the morning after my workouts and after my reflection. That is my where my world-class high intensity focused work happens. And then after my focus tends to decrease as the day goes on, then less productivity and less focused work is had. So most of my important tasks are done in the morning where I can get them done. Normally it's from 8 till 12. So with that said, try to focus your energy on the high leverage activities that move you forward in whatever that you are trying to achieve, what you're trying to obtain. Write them down on a piece of paper or on your notes on your phone, or however you do it, to get them out of here on your brain, and just be like, okay, this is more priority, this is less priority, this is what the priority one I'm going to do first. We're going to get that done, we're going to get that ticked off, and then move on to the next one, etc., and keep following that process. Over the last few months, etc., I've been doing exactly this, and it has pushed me so far forward with achieving what I want to achieve and getting stuff done and feeling really good about achieving those tasks. Moving on to the third lesson, which is double down on your interests. This is a big one. This is a very big one, because you're not, well, for me especially, I don't turn up for things that I'm not interested in. It's got to be aligned with what I like, what I'm interested in. When a habit becomes satisfying, you're going to do it more because it feels good. So when you're more interested in what you're doing, you're going to be more likely to show up for it, and thus more likely be consistent with sticking to that routine and keeping it going. Massive huge example of this is this YouTube channel. Like, I obviously did the videos in Southeast Asia. Beautiful time to be alive, actually loved it. When I come to Australia, I was like, I'm going to try and do it consistently now. And consistently can look different in many ways. Like, you could be consistently every week or every month or every 2 months, etc. And so with turning up for this channel, I tried to set a challenge and be like, okay, let's be consistent and try and put out a video every month or every month and a bit. Oh, and I've tried to obtain that and achieve that over the last 3 years or so. One of the core beliefs that I have of why I show up for it every single time is because I love for what it stands for. I love the passion that's involved in it. You can probably tell from when I started filming a video and I'm smiling straight away, or I'm in a new location, or I'm with people, or I'm just immersing myself in these experiences, in these environments, you know. And now you're probably thinking, but Benny, I don't know what I'm interested in. I don't know what I like. Well, that's when we come back to lesson number 1, which is trial and test as much as you can. When you try and test these things, you become a bit more like conscious and aware of, oh, I really like doing this, maybe I should do it more. And also, maybe don't consider like following your friends or what they do, because sometimes like their opinions on certain things can be completely different to yours. So in a way, that's very like helpful to how when I've gone solo as well, like I've been more real with myself. I've been more honest with myself. Do you like this, Benny? Like, do you really want to do this? Is this something you can see yourself doing in 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line? So trial and test what you can until something resonates with you. When it does resonate, like I say, make a journal, write these things down, take note, mental note or physical note, and be real with yourself and be honest with yourself. Why did I like this? Another big thing is don't be worried about time. I've spoken to a few different aspiring travelers about this, and they're worried about time even at younger ages, like when I first started at 19. With this, it's important to be conscious of the time and be aware of how you spend it, but at the same time, don't fixate on it. You can't control the past and you can't control the future. I've tried. But you can only focus and control the present, the now. The power of now, by Eckhart Tolle. Shout out to Eckhart himself. And obviously when you focus on the present, you become more present in being, like in what you're doing, like right now at this current point in time in your life. What I like to do here is I prefer to compare myself to who I was yesterday to who someone else is today, because if you think about it, if you constantly attack your travels or your self-development or your goals or what you're trying to achieve right now in life, then if you stay consistent with it, then and you still do like 1% each day, then you're slowly going to get better. So by effect, you are better than you were yesterday. And isn't that a beautiful thing? Isn't that a slow steady rise onto to the person you want to be, and to what you want your life to be like? Find a way to stimulate the 4 ways of core manifestation. So in another previous vid, talked on manifestation of how I manifested in 4 different ways. 4 ways were physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. With this, I would attack a specific task. I would try to apply myself in those 4 different ways, and then it would allow me to not only make more progress in that specific period of time, but also it'd allow me to be completely immersed within it. Like, how do I feel when I do this sport? Like, how do I feel when this challenge is been achieved? And so that brings me on to number 4, which is consume helpful knowledge consistently. The power of education nowadays is crazy. There is so much free information online I specifically use two methods. I use YouTube for educational videos, and I also use books for reading. I've gone through like about 8 books now. I absolutely adore it, especially with having detox from like the screens of my phone and the laptop. And having these two different mediums, like I'm developing not only my mental education, but then when I experiment and I practice physical as well. And not just that, but you need to be like self-aware of kind of what sort of videos or what sort of mediums are going to actually help you better to solve or to attack that task. For example, on YouTube, there are so many different videos of all different types of things. There's entertainment, there's education, there's motivation, there's like dog videos and cat videos. Don't get me wrong, I love watching them as well, but there's distraction and then there's focus. What are you wanting to achieve? What are you wanting to look at? Or what are you wanting to use your bandwidth of your brain, or what your focus and your energy is applied to? What are you going to watch that's going to propel you forward? A few different examples is that I watch a podcast on YouTube which is called A Diary of a CEO. I actually love this one. Shout out to Stephen Bartlett. He is absolutely a elite of what he's doing with his businesses and with his abilities to show up online. Amazing. And he's got so many different guests on there. I love watching them because it's so many different personal experiences, so much trial and error as well. And yeah, I use that to make myself better, to implement that with my life and how I go to attack my goals. So with this, whatever you're trying to achieve, whether it's travel and self-development or if it's in other industries as well, search up creators, the creator economy, for like who is kind of ahead of you but in that sort of niche or in that sort of specific category, because then you can learn from them and utilize their free information online. When you do this, you're learning about people and those that come before you. They could have already done what you're trying to achieve. So with this said, when you learn about how they've done it, this will allow you to take effect and apply yourself in a way that can get that job or that task done quicker in a smaller period of time, because you have the information. You have the information to make it work. This is such a big factor. Like knowing what you're doing with what you're trying to achieve. Like information is power, honestly. Like I've struggled so much with having the right information, and so in order to be conscious and try and find that information, I've scanned the web. I'm like, right, there must be someone that's already done this. I'm gonna have a look. And literally I'll go on a little rabbit hole of like trying to find all these different like mentors or different people, and I'm like, oh, this person's amazing at it. I'm gonna study them. I'm gonna consume all their free content, and this should help me move forward. Another good action point is to speak about people, about their trial and tested experiences. I do this all the time. Like I was sat in a bar in the Aluka literally the other day, started having a drink after work, and I spoke to this guy called Paul, which is like in his late 50s. He's got 2 businesses. He lives here in Australia. He relocated from the UK, and I sat there talking to him about all of his experiences, and it was fascinating, but also like a good consumption of just how he'd gone about life, how he'd gone to be successful in that way. And when you open yourself up speaking to these types of people, it gives you the information. It gives you the ability to how you can act on it down the line. And in doing so, it will help you with your self-development and your growth. And another quick note with that is that, like, from putting these videos up on YouTube, I've had a few people send through messages to my DMs in my Instagram. And obviously, like, I love it because I get to be able to meet some of you and I get to be able to help some of you in the best way that I can, which is through travel, relocation, and the self-development that I've been attacking this last decade. So yeah, like if you've got any messages for me, or you need help with anything in particular, or you just got like a problem that's come up that you think that I might be able to help with, then by all means, like drop a comment in the comment section below, or like as other people have done before, send me a DM on Insta, and like I'll try and reply when I can, when I get a bit of free time. Awesome. Last little note on that though is that don't be a copycat, don't mimic them. I would say utilize and use, consume the information they're giving out, but find a way to put your own spin on it, like to shape your own perspective on it. Some of the things that they give to me, I test them out, I try and test them, see if they work for me, and if they do, I'm like, right, how could I do that in my own way? Like, how could I film that in a way that it's more resonates with me and who I am? In doing this, when you find a way that it resonates with you and that you find your own perspective on it, this becomes super significant and super unique to you. And I think that's a beautiful thing to put out there into the world, both online and offline. Okay, moving on to number 5, which is gaining multiple skills in areas / industries that support one another. This is a big one, especially with transferable skills as well. These have helped me like so much with travel and relocation, because I've always been able to like fall back on something. For example, when construction isn't working out and I'm just not enjoying it, or I'm not finding the work as easy as I could, then my fallback would be, okay, I've done 8 years of hospitality, let's try and pursue that. And then obviously the transferable skills, like adaptability and listening and being able to build relationships, etc. I've done a whole nother video on that, so I'll be sure to put it up here to check that out if you want to. But these are so powerful when you need to adapt and pivot, and literally going through life, things and circumstances change so much. And with using these skills, it allows you to become more generalized instead of specialized, which means when you use that holistic approach of being able to like attack a task in multiple different ways, it allows you to serve in a better way, because you can help with more. When you become more able at doing multiple different things to solve that specific task, then you're going to be not only more employable, you're not only going to be more valued by employers or for yourself moving forward, but also you're going to solve that task a lot faster because you've got multiple ways to attack it. Even if you're struggling with not knowing where to start, I feel that it's more important to start with any industry that you feel that you want to move into or you want to attack. Like, you don't have to physically stay in that industry for the rest of your life. Like, I know quitting is not seen as a good thing, but all my days, like, it has helped me so much. Like, because I've not been afraid to quit and to move on, then it's allowed me to see where other people see where I can provide value. For example, like, if one business or one company is not like showing you or providing you with a good transaction or a good trade-off or a good swap of exchange of value, then go find someone that does show you that, you know? Okay, action points. Make a list, whether it's on your phone or on a flipping pad and paper. Make a list of all the jobs that you find interesting, and what skills would you necessarily need to obtain in order to be successful in that job, or to obtain that job, or to do that job very well. How can you practice and gain experience with those skills in that job? And then the next one would be, is that, okay, if you obtain that skill, what can you apply that skill to other mediums or to other things as well? Okay, moving on to number 6, which is diversify your mindset and travel as much as you can. Obviously, I'm going to be super biased on this one. I have 100% seen the fruits of my labor from working and traveling and relocating across the globe. I've never chased the pay packet, I've always chased the lifestyle. But now coming into my 30s, now I'm 30, like, I do want more money, but this is the one big thing that I've chased, is that value learning over money. Because money can always come in. Not only is this going to be able to give you more experience and more experiences on all these different things, that's something that no one can take away from you. So in a way, it's more effective because you become stronger and better as a person. And so we need to put this knowledge to good use. Like, we may struggle and have difficulties with how to move forward, but that's all part of life. That's all part of the trial and error. That's all part of the experimentation, seeing what you're made of. Another big question that I get online, which is when people ask me about relocating to these different places and stuff, like, I think they become worried that, like, when they leave their securities at home, their certainty, and they face this ability to just go out there and just not know if it's going to work for them. Not only is that exhilarating in a way, but also it's scary, man. Like, it's super daunting. Like, I was super scared that when I moved here to Australia, that it would all just collapse and that it would be completely, like, I'd fail completely, sorry. But that's part of the process. That's part of living. That's part of seeing what you're made of and seeing what you can, how far you can be pushed back and pushed forward, you know? And with that said, I want to give you a little bit of a reference here. I've been reading this book called 12 Rules for Life, The Antidote to Chaos, with Jordan B. Peterson. In it, he talks about the world and its opposites. So for example here, like opposites would be, okay, you've got chaos in life, but you've also got order. You've got uncertainty, but you've got certainty. You've got the unknown and you've got the known, you know? And you've like a few more, you've got yin and you've got yang, you've got Adam and you've got Eve. When I become more aware of that, okay, there's opposites in life. So no matter what, both are going to coexist with each other. So if I'm traveling and I'm moving around, if I'm feeling the chaos part, so if I'm feeling the unknown, the uncertainty, and the fact that things are just going to fall apart, I also know that there's going to be a way to bring them together, or I'm going to be able to solve them, or I'm going to be able to find a way to aspire to work towards them to make them better. And so that's what life's all about. You've got the one and you've got the other. Okay, action points. Write a list of goals that you want to achieve, and then next to it, pick a variety of different mentors that are going to help you to achieve those goals in a faster way. You could pick 1 to 2 to 3 or to 5, or how many you want to. I normally focus on 3. Obviously, if you pick different mentors with different mindsets or different abilities, capabilities, or attributes, then this will also help, because then you're again attacking it in a holistic approach and immersing yourself within that knowledge to make you better. So lastly, to sign off this video, I just want to give you an awesome, exciting update what I've been doing here in WA. Recently, I've managed to pivot my travel brand, Seeker Collective, into a travel and relocation brand. Mostly because it's what most of my experience is in, and it's how I feel like I can serve and help in the best way possible. Due to the demand of the videos here on the YouTube as well, I feel that it's certainly going to help a really big determining factor and a problem that aspiring travellers have when they relocate to somewhere new, whether it's finding work, finding accommodation, finding friends. I decided to change that on the community group. It's now a travel and relocation community. I've put that up online. We've currently got 29 people in there, which is amazing. These are people from aspiring travellers from all over the globe, from USA to Canada, from Germany to Netherlands, from the UK to obviously here in Australia and beyond. So yeah, if you did want to join and you are thinking about relocating to somewhere new, or you just want help, support, motivation, inspiration, and good recommendations and tips from people that have been there and done that sort of thing, like myself as well, then yeah, you can join. I'll put the link in the description box below. Everyone that has joined our group, private group online, has paid $10 one time for a lifetime access membership fee. Lastly, massive thanks again for sticking around to the end of this video. I've got some value out of it. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you all back in the next one. Take care, guys. See you later.